When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence. Whether you use handicapping insights like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power, and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. And now you can share the thrill with friends using our exclusive Bet Share feature.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Kilroy here with Tony Calo, and we're in Louisville, Kentucky, and we're getting ready to preview a couple big races here on the card at Churchill Downs on Saturday. We got a Grade 3, fillies and mares coming out for that Chicago Stakes, then a stakes caliber field sprinting, going that 6 furlong distance. Really good one that I think is going to be one that we can anchor in our pick 5. It is the beginning of the pick 5 here with the Chicago Stakes Grade 3. Tony Calo, what do you think? Some classy fillies and mares coming at us on Saturday.
Yeah, super excited with Vava returning after that big win in the Derby City Distaff and the return of Society. They are obviously the two headliners of a pretty small field, just a quintet, a field of 5. They look like standouts. Society has a really, really big, distinct pace advantage over this group. I mean, she is the lone F. She likes to do her running up near the front. And of the other 4, I mean, maybe Vava can stay a little close. Maybe Positano Sunset could get a little involved early. But, boy, Society really looks like, from a pace standpoint, she's got everything her own way up front.
Yeah, it does seem like we have a pretty easy design on this race, right? In terms of if everybody runs to their style, Society goes to the front. It'll try to wire, try to have enough to pull away late. She doesn't like to be headed. Vava's, she's been breaking wide in the past couple, has overcome that to run really well. She could be just right there, prompting the pace or just stalking and waiting for her move.
Probably going
and
to
the
have
other
to
three,
be, Kevin.
What's that?
I said she probably will have to be.
Yeah, she will. Otherwise, Society's just going to pull away. And the other 3, I think, will be coming from behind. You can see Vava here, the 10-horse Irad Ortiz Jr. He's back on board on Saturday. And, this is that race against Alva Star that I know, Tony, you and I were trying to beat these two for the value aspect of it. But what do you think? Can we beat Vava this Saturday?
Well, I mean, I think Society has the edge, 4 to 5 favorite. Vava's even money. Initially, when I saw the overnight and I saw the entries, I was like, wow, Vava. I mean, she's going so good this year. And we haven't seen Society in quite some time. But boy, the more you really look at the pace scenario of this race, it's hard to imagine Society just doesn't get away with a pretty easy lead. I know when Vava stays close, the fractions are pretty soft. They're like high 45s and 46s, and Society just has the ability to rock and roll early. And, I mean, pace makes the race, and with only 5 in there, it looks like it's her race on the comeback. I was looking up some of her work tabs leading up to her other comeback races, and she's right on par. She had about 8 workouts, I believe, a year ago leading up to her return race in April in the Madison, and she's right on par with that again. And just from a pace standpoint, I mean, Vava's going to have to stay close. You go all the way back in May of 23 when she does stay close, but they're going 45-2, and the race before that 46-1. I mean, you have to think Society just has the big time pace edge.
Yeah, 7 furlongs is the distance, the specialty for both of those fillies and mares in this field. Positano Sunset. Here's one that I rate an upset potential. 15-1 morning line. I think we'll get every bit of that in this race. Coming out for Ian Wilkes. We've been going 6 furlongs the last 2. 2 back in the Roxalana. A little bit of a slow start. Made things difficult. Finishing 4th place in that race. 6 furlongs. I still think she has more to show us. I think an extra furlong is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the other 3 trying to spring an upset, she kind of makes a lot of sense. She's coming out of those shorter races. She's on the outside. So you figure, getting the 7 furlongs today, she probably gets into the race sooner than she did in her previous 2 6-furlong races. You look back early on in her career, and she did have the ability to stay close and still finish. So I think that would be her best chance to succeed. in the stakes event. She's going to have to stay relatively close. I want to make a case for Royal Spa, but boy, she just comes from far, far back, and she doesn't have any early pace. And the same could be said for Chi-Town Lady. So of the three big long shots, I think you've got the right one way on the outside there.
Yeah, it's the third start in the form cycle. We've seen her run her best in this part in her cycle before, and I think she's not that far off. And sometimes with a small field, it just doesn't you don't get as much spacing as you would like to, as society might like to get to steal some lengths from these. So they might be invited into the race, and they might get bulled. And Positano Sunset, I think it's worth a shot in here. It does kick off that pick five. This grade 3 Chicago Stakes. Another big leg in this, Tony Calo, is race 10. We got Champlin coming back at us from Greg Foley's barn. Your top pick, Society, in here. What do you rate Champlin in this next race? Greg Foley's runner who's done just about nothing wrong except for that one off race there at Keeneland.
No, he looks so good. I mean, especially the way he showed that added new dimension recently, sitting a nice trip along the inside. He appeared to be a little one-dimensional in his first three starts, but boy, I was so impressed with that middle of May run, just biding his time along the inside. And you see him now as he tips out, and he just comes with a superior stretch run, and he's a dangerous individual moving forward. Conveniently drawn outside of a lot of his rivals. And if he can show that tactability, rateability like he did, boy, they're all playing second fiddle.
Yeah, that's huge. I think he can go to the front if they let him have it. There are some others in here that are interested, maybe not others that are quite proven to be as quick from the gates, but draws nicely in here and just seems to be one that we haven't seen the best of yet. Champlin, at Keeneland, he was acting up in the paddock before that race a couple back. I think we could just toss that one out. He wasn't in the mood to run. He wasn't feeling it that day, but he looked good at Churchill Downs. And we know the Foley barn has these big time sprinters at Churchill Downs, with Bango holding the record for most wins. I think we'll see him here again in closing weekend. What about Radical Right? This is one that I think you have interest in terms of a long shot potential.
Well, sometimes when I think I have a standout horse, like we do here with the Champlin, that sometimes I go looking at horses who come out of a similar race, and that is Radical Right on the 16th of May. The thing I noticed about Radical Right in that start, his first start here at Churchill Downs in quite some time, is he found himself far back earlier than he had been in his previous races. You look back at his victory 3 races ago, he's stalking the pace only 2 lengths off. The race after that, I know he was 7th early, but he still was only 3 lengths off the lead and 2.5. I think for him to have a chance to turn the tables on Champlin, he's going to have to get back to that kind of style where he's somewhat close and still comes with his nice run. Roddy Valente, he's a very aggressive horse owner. I know him from New York. He claims horses all over the country. And if he thought enough to pay $80,000 for Radical Right at 12-1, with company lines right there with Champlin, I think he's fairly live. He's just going to have to get into the race a little earlier than he did recently.
Yeah, you got to like that Tyler Gaffalione takes that call there. And
yeah, that was another added plus.
Race circled in terms of that claim. In the field, we have Scotland. Irad Ortiz Jr. is going to get up on this one. I think he's quite interesting. Confidence Game is entered. We'll see if he runs on Saturday, coming back quick for DeSormo. Surveillance, no longer with DeSormo, now with Mike Maker. He's interesting in there. Happy as a choice as well. But what about Payne? Coming out for Steve Asmussen's barn, we got Payne coming back to us after a couple weeks running last time out in the Aristides. I thought that he didn't have as much pace as he wanted to close into that. I think he's been knocking on the door of running his best. I don't think that was his big effort. I think maybe today is. We know Asmussen had Skelly interested in the Aristides as well. He seemed to be the one that was going to set the pace and let him come get him. But Payne didn't have that big effort towards the end. But we've seen him move forward and run competitive figures with this type of company. You give this guy a shot.
Yeah, why not, huh? Asmussen's doing nothing wrong this season.
Yeah.
By far the leading trainer. What a great week he had last week. I believe entering the week he was maybe five wins in front of Brad, and he just went off last week. I like what you said about the Aristides, that he maybe didn't get quite enough pace. Maybe a little bigger field, maybe more contentious, foes with one another up front. Then Payne can do his best running from off the pace. And Kev, anytime you come up with a long shot, I'm interested, brother.
Well, I do like the angle when we look at a horse that didn't run their best race last race or maybe the race before, because you got to think if you've seen the speed from them before, you've seen them run well and run with it at the level of the field they're facing, then this could be the race, and that's how we're going to get that value, right? And Asmussen Barn, like you said, has just been going so well. So I think Payne is one that I definitely want to use underneath to spice things up. I like your case for Radical Right. I wouldn't be surprised to see Scotland. I think that race was a little bit faster, maybe than the times came back. For speed figures, might be a little bit light. Might give us some value on Scotland. I think he's got some heart and he's got some talent as well.
He
All
really
right,
does
Tony.
it. He has it. Yep, he really does.
All right, we've got two races covered there on Saturday's card. We've got night racing tonight. I know you want to join us, come out to the track, get involved with that. The leaderboard from Twin Spires is something that you want to take advantage of in terms of playing against your peers and trying to get some extra money from Twin Spires. But Tony Calo, I won't be out there with you tonight. I've been writing all about Colonial Downs, big meet coming up this summer out in Virginia. So I've been turning my attention towards that. And I know you've been out at Ellis Park. So we're about to wrap up this meet, my man, but it's been a good one so far. Loving working with you, loving taking your picks and cashing on them.
Thanks for having me, Kev.
Oh, yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be with you tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and next week, of course, Stephen Foster Day.